Have you eaten shark before? Actually, a lot of people don't even know that they have. Keep listening to Formosa Fauna to find out more. Stick around for the next 20 minutes of today's episode so you can be smarter than all of your friends. Hello, every Friday is Formosa Fauna Friday. I'm Tristan Hildebrand, the voice of Formosa Fauna. If you're curious about the animal kingdom, you're in the right place. On today's agenda, we're going to talk about dolphins in Taiwan, climate change, Taiwanese turtles, the sharks fishermen do a great job at disguising, and kangaroos, and much more. So let's dive right in. On Wednesday morning, a female Risso's dolphin, approximately 2.7 meters long and estimated to be middle-aged, was found stranded on Haikou Beach in Pingdong County, Taiwan. The Coast Guard swiftly assisted the distressed dolphin and transported her to a national university called the Chunggong University for assessment. However, the dolphin was severely emaciated, exhibiting sunken vital signs and suffering from a 10-centimeter gash on her tail fin, as reported on by Taiwan News. After a medical evaluation, the decision was made to euthanize her. Wang Haowen, director of NCKU's Marine Biology and Cetacean Research Center, noted that while Risso's dolphins, also known as gray or spotted dolphins, are frequently seen in Taiwanese waters, strandings at this beach average just one per year, and this was the first report of such incident in 2025. Wang emphasized that the vast majority of stranded dolphins, about 95%, are already in very poor health and should not be pushed back into the sea by untrained bystanders. Instead, veterinary professionals are necessary to ensure the animal's safety if a return to the ocean is viable. In such situations, the Coast Guard advises the public to position the dolphin so its dorsal fin is upright, facing the sky, keep it moisturized with seawater, and monitor and record its breathing and heartbeat. They also warn against exposing the dolphin to wind or direct sunlight, standing too close to its head or tail, pushing, pulling, or making loud noises around it. Don't try to be a hero yourself, as the best chance the dolphins have is in the hands of the professionals. For assistance, call the Coast Guard's 118 hotline as soon as you spot a distressed marine animal in Taiwan. Most scientists are in agreement that climate change is raising the global mean temperature and is driven by an increase in greenhouse gases. There's something called the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, which says that the mean temperature will further increase 1.5 to 5.5 degrees Celsius or 2.5 to 9.9 degrees Fahrenheit over the next 100 years. This increase has already affected both plant and animal behavior. Plants and animals change their behavior along with the changing of the seasons. Just like think of some animals that hibernate, some that migrate, more. Phenology is the study of the life cycles of plants and animals along with seasonal changes. While temperature, rainfall, and the length of daylight are all triggers, it's believed that the most important factor is the temperature in Earth's temperate and polar regions, while rainfall is the key factor in the tropics. Climate change scientists Camille Parmesan and Gary Yohe proved that spring change started happening earlier back in 2003, something we now call spring creep. Just like for decades, people have observed leaves and flowers appearing earlier in spring, for many years, it was written off as lacking any solid evidence. But back in 2003, Parmesan and Yohi analyzed over 1,700 species to reveal that on average, spring change was indeed taking place earlier by an average of 2.3 days per decade. Further studies following have supported their findings. A warmer Earth produces many effects. Toxic algae bloom has occurred more frequently in the lakes. The ice in the polar regions is decreasing, and all of this directly affects animal and plant behavior. A 2003 botanist study had even more shocking results, observing that the spring change was happening 4.8 days earlier on average than 60 years before in 1943. While in some cases this meant a longer plant growing season, which sounds like a good thing, that isn't always a good thing, as some insects aren't always welcome. And as the warmer seasons keep them around to breed for longer, shorter winter seasons kill less of them off. Then, in some cases, these populations undergo explosive increases and infest in very damaging ways. When it comes to migrating birds, some have adjusted their flight schedules to be 20 days earlier than in the 1970s, like the swallows. Bank swallows even arrive at their destinations 25 days sooner than before. Yet, populations have declined, likely because of an inability to adjust their departure date and inability to benefit from the earlier abundance of insects. Since flowers are blooming earlier, bee populations either emerge earlier or move to higher latitudes to stick to their original schedules. Studies of 10 wild bee species in the northeastern United States and Canada has shown that their behavior has largely changed to match the earlier warming temperatures. However, bumblebees in Colorado, as studies have shown, have not changed, and their populations have declined as a result. Once pollinators decline, their plants they pollinate decline too. It is because of such disturbing evidence that climate scientists have lobbied governments and demanded policy change worldwide. The spring creep is being used by scientists as proof that climate change is occurring, and they continue calling upon policymakers to fight global warming to save the species that complete and support our ecosystem. From January through July 2025, Taiwan recorded 96 nesting female sea turtles across 6 key habitats in Kending, Xiaoliuqiu, Lanyu, Dongsha Island, Wang'an Island, and Taiping Island, marking a 3-year high in nesting activity. In comparison, 89 nesting females were documented during the same period in 2024, reported on by Taiwan News. While the report did not specify turtle species, the green sea turtle is the most commonly found across Taiwan. The Ocean Conservation Administration, the OCA, noted that the peak hatching season has already begun this year. Although rainfall from recent typhoons has helped temper the sand, heavy rains and tidal waves still pose risks to hatchlings. The OCA urged the public to minimize disturbances at nesting sites to ensure that the hatchlings can safely reach the ocean. To further support conservation, the OCA reminded everyone to maintain a respectful distance from nesting turtles, avoid stepping on or disturbing marked nests, reduce artificial lighting during nighttime beach activities, and limit plastic usage to mitigate pollution of nesting areas. Additionally, anyone encountering a stranded turtle or disoriented hatchling is encouraged to call either the 1999 hotline, that's 1999, or the Coast Guard's 118 hotline for assistance. Again, the best chance the animals have is in the hands of the professionals. Taiwan is an island that is 70% covered by mountains, lakes, and jungle. Taiwan's early connections to the Pacific and Southeast Asia are well established and are the basis for seeing Taiwan as an ocean nation. Did you know that over 17,000 species thrive in the deep sea where no light penetrates the ocean waves? Or that there are 38,000 different kinds of microbes in just 1 liter of seawater? These were all discoveries made by the Census of Marine Life, a 10-year international effort that assessed the diversity, distribution, and abundance of marine life. Today, we're going to learn all about something in the Atlantic Ocean called the spiny dogfish. If you had to guess, what is it? Is it a dog? Is it a fish? Well, it might just be a shark. Save the sharks! Many shark species are threatened or endangered due to overfishing and the demand for shark fin soup, meaning consumption directly contributes to population decline and disruption of marine ecosystems. Others avoid shark meat because it can contain high levels of mercury and other toxins, posing potential health risks. Cultural and ethical concerns also play a role, as sharks are often viewed as vital apex predators that should be protected rather than harvested for food. Yet, many people have eaten sharks without ever realizing it. They won't put dogfish on the menu, but, and they're not going to put shark in this case, but rock salmon, right? Rock salmon has been a staple in British fish and chip shops for decades. The name switching was part of a rebranding exercise aimed at persuading more people to eat the sharks that industrial fishers were beginning to catch a lot of. According to Helen Scales, around the world, various other shark species have been marketed under different non-sharky names, including flake in Australia, whitefish and steakfish in the United States, salmonette in France, and vitello de mare, veal of the sea, in Italy. In the case with spiny dogfish, fishing has become so intense that the population has decreased by over 95% since 1905. That's huge! And the species is now listed as vulnerable to extinction. This is partially because it takes male dogfish 10 years and female dogfish 20 years to reach maturity, which is old when compared to other fish. Once the females are old enough to reproduce, they are then pregnant for 2 years, which is as long as an elephant, before they give birth to a relatively small litter of about 6 or 7. The population is therefore not equipped to bounce back from high levels of fishing, and populations will take a very long time to recover. And now you're thinking, wait, have I eaten shark before? Because I know I'm questioning it. I'm from the US, and I have no clue what kind of fish I've ingested there. But none of the things on this list sound like shark. Rock salmon, flake, whitefish, and even steakfish. Oh, I would definitely trust steakfish is not shark if it was fed to me. Not sharky, but very sketchy. This brings us to an animal-related story in global news this week, reported on by World Animal News. In New York, it is shockingly still legal to serve marine animals alive on a plate, a practice known as ikizukuri. This method of sashimi preparation involves slicing fish or octopus while they're still fully conscious. Animal welfare advocates have long called for an end to this preparation and presentation of food. Now, Assembly Bill A8926, introduced by Assemblyman Patrick Berkey, aims to do just that. The bill would amend New York's public health law to make it illegal to prepare seafood while the animal is still alive. I don't know if that wording is quite right, to prepare it while they're still alive or to serve it while they're still alive. But definitely, I'm assuming that serving it while it's still alive is the main goal that they're trying to get to put an end to that. Voters for animal rights took to social media, posting, "This is needless suffering and it has no place in our state." Assembly Bill A8926 would finally ban this barbaric practice. If passed, the bill would take effect 30 days after becoming law. It would also empower regulators to create any additional rules necessary to enforce the ban. But passing A8926 will require strong public pressure. Those in support of maintaining the practice of serving live animals for consumption argue that it maintains freshness or that it is customary practice. However, this so-called preparation method has had its roots in China and Japan, not New York. Even then, in Japanese culture, for example, it is not an essential part of any traditional ceremony or anything, so I find it hard to argue that case. It's more likely that the restaurants use the unusual preparation and presentation as a method, as a wow factor to boost sales and memorability. Growing up, I always had the impression that kangaroos were cute, friendly creatures that just hopped around in Australia. Then, I ran across a video on the internet of this kangaroo stealing some man's dog. I also saw a photo of a very buff kangaroo standing outside of someone's glass sliding window in the dark. If you've seen that photo, you know the exact photo I'm talking about. And slowly, this facade started to crumble, and I realized that maybe they weren't as gentle as I once imagined. A few years back, when I was preparing for a work trip to Australia, I had mentioned that I was still interested in seeing them. Then had a slew of stories hurled my way about how dangerous they were and to steer clear of them. Kangaroos can be found in the grasslands, woodlands, and savannas of the Australian continent. More recently, they seem to have taken a liking to golf courses as well. Kangaroos are social animals and travel in large groups called mobs, which honestly just makes it sound a little bit more threatening. According to the survival-based site called Survival, staying on designated trails and avoiding noisy or erratic movements helps reduce the risk of startling kangaroos. If kangaroos feel cornered, they can react unpredictably, especially near their young. When making a long trek through kangaroo territory, which could be through grasslands or forested edges, try to go in well prepared. Carry a first aid kit, map or compass, fully charged phone or radio, emergency whistle, and a good multi-tool, just as recommended in general wildlife safety advice. Familiarizing yourself with kangaroo behavior can also help you identify their warning signs, just like how a dog growls before they attack. In case of a direct encounter, or if you come across an injured kangaroo, safety and empathy must go hand in hand. Keep your distance to avoid adding stress or risking injury, especially from their powerful hind legs, according to Bridgetown Wildlife Rescue. All parks will strongly urge you to follow the designated paths and trails, keep your distance when observing wildlife, and call the local authorities should situations arise. According to veterinarian Sandra C. Mitchell on PetMD, the African gray parrot ranks number 1 in the list of most intelligent talking parrots. They can learn up to 1,000 words, or even more, and are considered to have the intelligence of a 2 to 3 year old toddler. This doesn't make them the best or easiest pets, though. Their intelligence leads them to find places in their homes to destroy and new ways of creating chaos for their owners. While it may sound cool to have a smart talking bird, they are only good pets for people with extensive bird experience, plenty of patience, and ample space and time to socialize and train their pets. Many 10-year-old African gray parrots have already seen 6 to 7 homes by the time they are 10 years old. They can also live up to 80 years old, which is longer of a time commitment than I would guess most of us are able to give. Have anything you'd like to share about today's episode or something you've seen in the news recently? Send me an email at tristan@rti.org.tw. That is tristan@rti.org.tw. Making it to the end of an episode makes you a Formosa Fauna friend. See you next time for Formosa Fauna Fridays here on Radio Taiwan International.